Hey, Dr. Shana, it's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Super excited to be here and thankful for the opportunity.
Beautiful. And thank you so very much, Doctor, for being here. You see, I truly appreciate it. And you see, Dr. Shana, oftentimes I love to thank my guest for two things. And I do this so often to the point where it has become an anthem for me. So, firstly, Dr. Shana, I want to say thank you so very much for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you did invest it in yourself. And oftentimes, Doctor, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. They say some months back, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, Dr. Shana, there was this very tall, unattractive mango tree. And I use the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it, and the leaves were all dry. So I just walked past it and I went my way. But you see, just recently, Dr. Shana, I was on that same road. And this time around, a lot's changed about the mango tree. The mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance. And immediately, I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did, and it wowed me. Because now the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it, beautiful green leaves and healthy branches, and not just mangoes now. I'm talking about ripe mangoes. It was such a lovely experience that day. I was so excited. Here is my point, Doctor. You see, the fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing Dr. Shana that you are today, that alone has made it really impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you see you got the request from me to be on the show because I was attracted to the fruit of all that you're doing, the impact your work is having, your philosophies, how you're offering your solutions. These stuffs are amazing. And just before you got the request from me, Dr. Shana, I said to myself, I've got to benefit from these beautiful things Dr. Shana is doing. Not only me now, but even the audience. And here we are today with the amazing Dr. Shana. So thank you so very much for doing that yourself. And secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite. Because if you had said nope, there was nothing Elisha could do about it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was a beautiful analogy and metaphor. I love mangoes
Mm.
and just talking about like the fruits of like our labor, our journey. Absolutely. That was beautiful.
Thank you. And thank you so very much once again for being here. So let's get started, Dr. Shana. You see, I'm quite excited to have you on the show today for two reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. I believe in order for one to transition from a terrible situation to that of a beautiful one, Doctor, I believe it takes the application of knowledge. And not just knowledge now, but the application of it. And you see, Dr. Shana, ever since I realized that light in the Hebrew means knowledge, and darkness means ignorance. I've been so keen to knowledge seeking because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. The second reason I'm excited to have the amazing Dr. Shana on the show is for the sake of the audience. You see, Doctor, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got a lot of information flying out there. So these folks trust me for quality, eye-opening, and very important information, of which I am totally convinced, Dr. Shana, that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So for that reason, Doctor, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or your professional journey, because right now we are so curious. We want to know how Dr. Shana got here. Then afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Doctor, over to you.
Thank you. The journey has been quite eventful for me. And quite frankly, I have beat the odds and statistics of a lot of folks as a first generation college student, oldest of six. And my educational journey is that I started as a registered nurse by trade and went on actually after some significant setbacks that not only affected myself, but primarily a lot of people around me and a lot that I did not know. And I was blessed to be able and afforded the opportunity to continue my education until I got my doctorate of nursing. And I thought one day I was never going to be a nurse at one point. So here we are. And I thought I was done with school at my doctorate. And 3 months later, I was walking into my last academic degree for an executive MBA in healthcare after delivering our third baby 3 weeks before that. So I was quite dedicated to the journey, and just a very rich history in mental health, addiction, trauma-informed approaches, and prison reform, restorative justice.
That's a beautiful one. And thank you for sharing that with us. Okay, so there is this part I'm still curious about, and I want us to talk about it first. All right. So, how can we master focus, energy, and resilience for peak performance? You get
Absolutely. It takes a lot of inward seeking and time management. Those are two very big pieces. And just being dedicated to the trajectory of what that goal is. Peak performance really comes along with being accountable, taking the steps needed, investing in ourselves, and really maximizing our full purpose, potential, and impact. I always like to say that really peak performance is something that can be instilled in some, but it also really requires somebody that is going to challenge you. And for me, I had several mentors along the way that saw things in me before I saw them, which was able to get me to that next step of success, dreams, goals, and perform at the top level. A lot of it involves mindset mastery as well, because once that's drawn out of you, knowing is half the battle, right? And so when you know something, you cannot unknow it. And so you are called really to take affirmative action then. You have two choices. Either you do nothing or you take action. And so that is where the mindset piece and the shift of the lens in which things are viewed for me, your audience, in which we're viewing things previously, and how we take that lens and challenge ourselves to maybe reach across the table, reach across the aisle, educate ourselves, and really learn from each other on top of stretching almost our neural pathways to create new ways of thinking.
profound words. I've got a clap for you. You made it quite easy to understand. Okay, so let's move further. You see, I think I really love your approach and it sounds very effective. So, how do you guide clients through burnout, addiction, or conflict?
That's a fantastic question. Coaching people is such an honor, first and foremost, because they have chosen to invest in themselves, but also invest in me as somebody who I like to say is a Sherpa, right? Helping guide that path forward. And when it comes to first mindset, anything, all of those that you asked me, has to have a mindset shift. And I cannot do that footwork for somebody, but I can help draw out those qualities and challenge them. So when we're talking about addiction, oftentimes a lot of people go straight to substance use, misuse, or abuse. And that is not always the case. Addiction is very wide. Today, with technology, what are we doing that consumes our time and is taking us away from our purpose and our impact, and also things that maybe matter at the core value, like family? Because addictions really take people out of their element of maybe which they would normally be or where they want to be. And oftentimes people get stuck in those cycles where they want to be out of that cycle, don't know how, but there's also the dopamine release that comes with addiction, excitement, and that's what keeps people stuck. So educating folks on that neurodivergency, the chemicals that really make up that aspect of addiction, shopping online, even there's addiction to leadership if you think about it, which is really eye-opening because that is somebody who is consistently putting themselves in harm's way to make a rapid fire decision and still have impact. But if that's constant and there isn't self-care wrapped around that, it becomes an addiction to do better, be better, and can really impact that person based on how they're leading, where there could even be post-traumatic stress symptoms because they're seeing trauma and not realizing it because they're so dedicated to the mission.
Wow, I got that. Because they are so dedicated to the mission. Hmm. Okay, beautiful. So, what about those leaders who are under pressure? How do you help them build resilience?
Yes, that is one of the key factors. And a lot of the executives that I coach and business entrepreneurs, it is very easy to get wrapped up in the day-to-day of being in charge. And there's the power of pause, I like to say, because stepping back, resiliency is such a beautiful word. A lot of people think about resiliency as bouncing back, coming back from something. But there's also another definition, and it has to do with taking a reprieve and refocusing. And that's where the pause comes in. And so when working with a lot of these executive coaches, sometimes, and even executive like retreats, there is an opportunity for these leaders, executives, to be able to pause, reevaluate previous, decisions, why they maybe have done that, look at different ways to communicate, but also just work on self-care, not having to be in that rapid fire decision-making atmosphere during that time. And they can connect with other executives and maybe gain some insights as well. So it's very empowering for folks at that level to be able to step back and refresh, recharge, re-energize, to be able to step back into those critical making decisions, or, being able to delegate appropriately.
They will delegate appropriately. I got that. Okay, so we have two more questions to go, and it's been very insightful listening to you speak, Dr. Chanel. And thank you for being such a great explainer because you're making it very easy to understand. So, there's this word I'm also curious about, all right? Why is giving yourself permission to fail important for leadership?
I love this aspect of life. A lot of people are afraid to fail, but on the flip side, people who have failed, I often find, and I can speak for myself in this area, are then in turn afraid of success because they know the weight that is carried and the expectation and the pressure that oftentimes comes with success. And so just really giving ourselves the ability to fail, right? If we don't try, if we don't step out of our comfort zone, the risk of failing is very low. That's comfortable. But in order to invest in ourselves, to switch that lens of mindset that we were talking about earlier, it's imperative that we stretch and grow as humans. That's really what, we focus on, whether we realize it or not, is doing better to some degree than we were the day before. The majority of people kind of have that baseline mindset, just kind of automatic as we grow and learn, from infancy to adulthood, and take it back to that very extreme level. But I say giving yourself the ability to fail is not failure, because it is that you have stepped out to do better, be better. And that could be an opportunity that gives you an ability to learn from those mishaps.
Beautiful words. And these things they don't teach at school. In fact, they persecute you, insult you, mock you for failing. Well, thank you so very much, Dr. Chanel. That's a profound one, and I got that. So, to bring this to an end, Doctor, what would you like to leave the audience with, like a final thought? And to those folks who like to reach out to you, be a part of your program, so learn more about everything we've discussed so far. How can that be possible?
Absolutely. All of my social handles are at Shanea Clancy or at Clancy Consulting Services, my website. And really, I would just be honored to connect with folks from your audience if any of this resonated with them. And I just love helping and being able to help others see maybe what they're not seeing in themselves. And taking that first step can be incredibly scary and risky. But if you don't do it, you won't know. And you don't have the risk of learning. So my lasting word would be reach out, reach up, and challenge yourself to some degree, even if it is at the lowest level of just getting up out of bed and letting the feet hit your floor.
Beautiful, Dr. Chanel. It's amazing what you're doing, I tell you. The impact your work is having, these stuffs are beautiful. And thank you so, so very much for doing what you're doing. I truly appreciate it. Thank you. So that's going to be the end of the show, Dr. Chanel. Thank you for coming and thank you for sharing these beautiful stuffs with us. It means a whole lot. Thank you.